When you talk to people from outside academia and they ask you, what do you do for a living? What do you tell them?
First of all, thank you so much, Shumaila, and thank you so much, Bogna, for inviting us for this event. And Dzień dobry to all. This is what I know in Polish. So, coming toward your first question, it is about I am doing as a research scientist. I am working in the field of biomedical engineering and in the field of drug delivery system. So whenever I have an opportunity to introduce myself to audience, the first clue that they have in mind that he would be playing with different color of chemicals and he would be having a beaker in hand and doing everything with those beakers and chemicals. Fortunately, I do this, but not only this. It would be like I have biomedical models, animals experiments, so much more beyond this of your when you have this in your imagination. And same question to you, that what actually you are doing in your research?
Yes, so when people learn that I'm a linguist, they usually go like, oh, so you do literature studies, right? So you would stay at home, read books all day, and then write a paper on what you think that the author meant when they were writing this particular publication, which is absolutely not what we do. So in linguistics, we are rather interested in human communication. And for me, it was specifically fascinating how people from different languages and cultures managed to still understand each other. And I guess this is what brought me into the field of linguistics and into the field of research. And so I ended up in science, as all of us. But I have another question to you. So how was your academic journey? What brought you into the field of research? Did you ever dream of becoming a scientist when you were younger?
Thank you so much for your question. And if I will go back, like flashback to my age of 12 and 13, I wanted to be a pilot, like a military pilot who have an opportunity to travel worldwide to different countries. But unfortunately, fortunately, this destiny brought me to the field of science and research. And then I got to know that with a research profile, you also have opportunity to explore the world. You have conferences, you have workshops, you have trainings to go to every country. So it is not only the pilot who can travel from one country to other. The scientists also have this opportunity to travel worldwide. And how about you? Like, you wanted to be a research scientist or what in your case?
No, frankly, not at all. I think if you ever asked me when I was, I don't know, a kid or a teenager, I would never say, oh, I want to become a scientist. I think this is something that is very abstract and hard to imagine. And when you're a kid, you want to get something tangible, like you want to imagine yourself being a pilot, or I don't know, being an actor or a dancer or whatever. So I think my journey was rather that at every step of my education, I got really fascinated about something, and these things would become my research questions. And from one step of education to another, these research questions would simply become more and more specific. And this is what brought me to start my master's degree, then a PhD, and finally to start this project as a postdoc. So I think this was like the most important point for me. There's this question that I'm obsessed about. How do I get to find the answer? And what is this big question for your project? So normally there's like a challenge in the world or some kind of problem in the everyday life that we as scientists, we're like, oh, this is something I want to study because I want to solve this problem. So what would it be for you?
So if you allow, I will explain my research question in the form of this pictorial representation, maybe?
Yeah. Sure.
Do you want to see pictures? No? Okay. So I need help to, thank you so much. So, first of all, you already have examples in your home facing your grandparents that they are even in this winter seasons and even they are unable to walk properly. You have this experience, right? Coming with this picture, like you can see first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Coming with this picture, that they always have this kind of pain in their knee and they are unable to walk properly and they cannot even participate while you are having any activity or you are playing or you are walking somewhere. So it is related to, it is related to a disease that is named as osteoarthritis. It is basically the pain in knee that is associated with a lubricant. We always have a lubricant in our knees, but unfortunately in this disease, this cartilage is damaged. So cartilage damage will ultimately lead to some kind of pain in their knees and ultimately causing like a kind of hurdle in their walking. This is associated with this knee infection that actually this is normal one. Here you can see in this picture, this is normal knee, and in osteoarthritis there is a damage in cartilage. So due to this damage they are unable to walk properly, and the surgery that is available currently worldwide is called as total knee replacement or partial knee replacement. So it is after surgery they will replace their knee, which is in fact a painful procedure and which required a repetitive surgery because of older age. They are unable to like manage with this alloys in the knee, so they need surgery again and again. So I have a solution to this problem. This is really a simple solution. I have prepared a hydrogel or a kind of solution that remain a solution form at room temperature, and whenever it goes to your body at 37 degrees centigrade, it turns into gel. Now what this gel actually do, I will explain in later picture. This is how these gels are look like. Like at room temperature, these gels are solution, and whenever you inject into the body using a simple syringe, it turns into hydrogel within the knee. So how it will turns into hydrogel? This is the procedure that we actually inject this via injection. It is a simply injection, not a painful procedure. We inject it simply and it convert to hydrogel. So what actually this hydrogel will do in the body? It is in this picture. This hydrogel goes into the body and it will start repairing your knee and cartilage because it also contains curcuma. Curcuma is basically a kind of spice that we use in kitchen, but fortunately it have a good effect in the form of medicine. So it will start repairing knee, and at the end knee would be repaired, and we can see happy grandparents in this picture. So this is all about my research. So how about your research? How you came to like actually what is your research question and how you came to here?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a
It was interesting or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it was interesting for me because I can definitely imagine, you know, my mother who is getting into the age of being a grandma roughly and who actually has trouble walking. So looking at all these pictures, frankly, my knee hurt already. So I think you have this advantage that in your research, the social impact is really easy to imagine, right? There's some kind of disease that a lot of people in society are suffering from, and you want to find a cure for this disease or for this condition to make their lives better. I think for us working in the field of humanities, the social impact is far from being so easily understandable. So perhaps instead of me like explaining it to you, I will give you like a little demonstration. So let's say I actually need a knee surgery or I need this kind of procedure, and I come to your cabinet in Pakistan and I ask you to explain to me how you would perform this kind of procedure of injecting the substance that you are working on into my knee. But I would like you to give this explanation in your mother tongue, which is Urdu, right, instead of English.
So do you want this in Urdu?
Yes.
I think in this whole room only one guy will able to understand this Urdu.
And it's not me.
No, it's not you.
It's not me, definitely.
And it would be same experience when I visited to a doctor in Poland, and I assume many things from his or her gestures. So let me explain this in Urdu.
Go for it.
When you go to doctor and you are saying that you are having a problem.
In Urdu, please.
Yeah, starting with like base of English and then to Urdu. So starting with Urdu.
Please.
So, जब आप विजिट करते हैं किसी भी डॉक्टर को, तो डॉक्टर के पास जाने के बाद उनके पास एक इलाज मौजूद है आपके लिए, एंड वो ये है कि वो आपके नी के अंदर इस इंजेक्शन से हाइड्रोजेल को इंजेक्ट करेंगे. इंजेक्ट करने के बाद ये हाइड्रोजेल अपना फिनोमिना के थ्रू, एक प्रोसेस के थ्रू, मैकेनिज्म के थ्रू आपके नी के कार्टिलेज को भी रिपेयर करेगा और उसके साथ वो एक लुब्रिकेटिंग इफेक्ट प्रोड्यूस करेगा. आफ्टरवर्ड उसके बाद फिर आप लाइफ में चलना फिरना आपके लिए ज़्यादा आसान हो जाएगा कंपेयर टू बिफोर, जैसे आप चल रहे थे. So this is in Urdu.
Yeah, thank you. So exactly, with me just understanding a couple of keywords, I can follow what you're saying by, comparing the words that are transparent from one language to another, like doctor, like cartilage, etc. But other than this is maybe what, 2% of what you said. Let's say I actually need this surgery and I actually am in Pakistan and I don't speak any Urdu. If I go to the doctors, I want to understand 100%. So typically in this kind of situation, ideally you would get some external help, and this help would be in the person of an interpreter. So interpreter would be the third person standing right in the middle of us, and this person would provide oral translation from your language to mine. And the question is that if I don't understand your language, here there is another person who understands 100% of it. I still listen to your speech in real time, and I can see your gestures. I can understand a couple of keywords. I can see what you're doing. If you point towards your knee saying injection, I'll be like, oh, so there is going to be an injection into my knee. I start imagining things, but I will only get 100% of this verbal content rendered to me a couple of seconds later on when the interpreter comes in to explain it in my language. So here my question, my research question arises, what do these people do with everything that is nonverbal? Do they actually include gestures of the speakers? Do they look at them? Do they judge the content from it? How about the person who doesn't understand the language? What do I do with all of this part? Do I compare how you gesture with how the interpreters gesture? And if me, as an interpreter, if I actually have to do this job, going from one language to another, will I also, if you point to the knee as the speaker, me as an interpreter, am I also going to point to the knee? So these are the questions that I wanted to tackle in my research, and I have a background in linguistics, but my project now is more focused on human cognition, because we want to discover if this kind of gesturing during interpreting, which is a very difficult task. If you guys have any time tried to interpret fast from one language to another, it basically makes your brain boil. So I wanted to know if this kind of gesturing and mimicking gestures of the speakers has an impact on human cognition, which is why I'm now within the Institute of Psychology, being a linguist by training.
Interesting, interesting. So what brings you to this research question? Like, what are the background that that grab to you toward this research background actually?
So if I actually go back to the years of me being at school and being at the beginning of higher education, so when I was a kid, actually I wanted to have the superpower to speak all of the languages in the world. I didn't want to be invisible, I didn't want to travel through time, I wanted to have this superpower. So obviously I discovered soon enough that that was absolutely impossible, but I think this is what got me into starting to learn different languages. And then later on, so I picked up English at school, then I started German, and then a bit later on, when I was about 16, like basically high school level, it was the first time that I traveled out of Europe, and I was in Brazil with my parents, and I didn't speak any Brazilian Portuguese or any other language from the same family. So basically whatever they were saying, I didn't understand anything. I could just look at how they were gesturing, how they were, trying to communicate with everything else than the actual words. And at some point there was a family gathering, and we wanted to talk to our cousins who were roughly our age, and there was just this little one guy who would speak very decent English and Brazilian Portuguese as his mother tongue. So this guy would serve as interpreter, as translator for us. It's just that we have discovered that he was doing a terrible job. So basically, we just asked him to help. He said, yeah, of course I will do it. And then we figured out that he was making fun of us because he was basically making up everything. It had nothing to do with what we were actually saying. And when we discovered it, I was like, wow, this guy has actually so much power, because if we're without him, we don't understand anything. So I think this is what got me into being interested above languages, being interested into actually translation and especially interpreting, so oral translation. And this is why I started to study it. So I think this was a path that suited me. Typically, people who are interested in languages, they like traveling, they like moving around, talking to people. So I think it was a right fit for me. But actually, I'm very curious. So for you, what brought you to travel abroad for science? And especially, what brought you to start your project specifically in Warsaw?
So I have completed my Doctor of Pharmacy from Pakistan, then leading by Masters in Pharmacy from Pakistan, and then at the end PhD from Pakistan. Along with that, I have got an opportunity to move to Netherlands for a research project. It was in 2021, sorry, because 2020 is kind of dangerous due to its COVID kind of a thing. So in 2021, I was there in Netherlands for this research project, and then afterward, I started my journey as an academician and as a teaching as an assistant professor in Superior University, Pakistan. And then during this journey, I got an email from the PASIFIC guys that your project is shortlisted for this PASIFIC Marie Curie project. So if you want to confirm that you are traveling to Poland, so you are warmly welcome for that. And then I got this opportunity that with this project, with this postdoctoral project, I would have opportunity to build up my career in a more suitable way. I have an opportunity to be a good researcher, and I have got an opportunity to interact with various researchers internationally on different workshops, different conferences and everything. And I have one more question from you, that you are already from Poland. So it was like picking this project is related to you wanted to come back to your home, or what actually it is, like in your case?
Well, in a way also, because like all of us, even for people who are with Polish origins, in order to get into this project, we needed to comply with the mobility rule, which basically means that we couldn't have been based in Poland, in the same country, 3 years before our application. So I did up to my master's, I was based in Warsaw, but then I did my PhD in Paris, then I was in the UK teaching for a year, and it is true that the PASIFIC program brought me back to Warsaw, which is my hometown. But we do have a lot of possibilities of international networking and international mobility. So, for instance, for me, since my project deals with oral translation, with interpreting, it's interesting for us to look at different language pairs. So we did some experiments on Polish-English language pair in Warsaw, but then I wanted to look at other languages. And within PASIFIC, I could do a research visit for a month in Barcelona to look at English-Spanish interactions, for a month in Paris to look at English-French. And then there were lots of conference possibilities, you know, to travel, present the project, and share the early results of it. And so summing it up, and back to your question about coming back to Poland, if I look at the last year, which was the first year of my fellowship, out of the 12 months, I spent 4 months out of Poland. So it's kind of coming back, but also still being connected with the research world, which is outside Warsaw. And I think this is one of the perks that you get when you're working in academia, is that not only you get to be focused on your research question that you choose. It's not like at school that you have to, you know, tackle multiple topics and then you have to be good at everything. No, you pick up one thing that you're really fascinated about and that you're really good at, and then you can devote 100% of your time and effort into exploring that. And within this rule of international mobility and with this kind of training programs, you also get the possibility to travel all around the world to conferences, etc. And here you meet people from all kinds of backgrounds and languages and cultures that are actually, they have this point in common with you, that they are from a very far place, but they are fascinated by the exact same research question as you have, and they want to solve the same problem as the problem that you see in the world. So I think this is one of the most beautiful things in science.
Thank you so much. Dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękuję.